But let's go to other issues. In recent weeks, Victoria has signed the death warrant on its native timber industry. And now WA, we're told, is not far behind. But before this misguided policy spreads any further, here's a few facts. Only 0.06% of Australian native forests are logged each year, and by law, they have to be regrown. If Australia doesn't source its hardwood timber domestically where it's certified, then we'll have to source timber from third world operations that are usually uncertified and often illegal. And lastly, Australia already imports over $5 billion in timber each year. With the logging bans closing the local industry, well, you can expect that costs will rapidly increase. And as for environmental concerns, the reality is that more than 80% of the world's timber producing forests, well, they're not certified at all. All of ours are. And roughly 86% of imported hardwoods come from countries that have much worse environmental credentials than we do. Bit of context there helps, doesn't it? Joining me now, Shadow Minister for Fisheries and Forestry, Liberal Senator Jonathon Duniam. Welcome to the show, Jonathon. I've just taken my viewers through a few facts about the timber industry. Given those facts, why are state governments persisting with these bans and shutting it down? I mean, we're going to still need timber, but we'll just get a worse environmental outcome.
Spot on. It is just pure madness, Peter, and I'm really pleased that you are giving this serious issue airtime. Why are they doing it? Well, it is ideology. It is pure ideology. The Labor Party once, the proud party of standing up for workers and for Australian jobs and manufacturing, and the Prime Minister even sort of masquerades as a supporter of Australian jobs and manufacturing himself, but stands idly by when Labor premiers go about what they're doing. There is no science behind what they're doing. The facts that you read out before clearly demonstrate why we should be backing in Australian native forest industries and the mills that process these products and the people that work in them. I mean, in your state, in Victoria, I've toured a number of mills there, and the mad situation that is only going to get worse now, these mills are importing timber from Tasmania to meet demand. We're not growing the pie, we're shrinking it, and you made the point before, we're just offshoring the demand for this product, and of course, with it, some pretty disastrous environmental impacts, and of course all the jobs that go with it too. There is no winner out of this, and it's only going to get worse the more demand we have, particularly with this big Australia that Labor are bringing us forward with, and we should be doing more to do more here in Australia.
What I don't understand is we're not talking about old growth forests here, and you can correct me if I've got that wrong, but also timber's sustainable. When you cut down a tree, you can grow another one. It's not like the tree's gone forever, or it's the forest is totally decimated, and they are very regulated about where they can cut down in the forest and how much from a particular sort of a square meterage. I mean, this is the things I think people don't properly understand.
No, absolutely right. Look, we do forestry better here than anywhere else in the world. And in fact, I asked Australia's Forestry Minister the day that Victorian Labor made their announcement that they were bringing forward their plan to shut down the sustainable industry by 7 years, giving the industry 7 months' notice. I said to him, do you believe Australia does forestry better than anywhere else in the world? And he could not bring himself to just say yes. He did not back in the industry he apparently stands up for in Cabinet. So, you know, the facts are clear, as you've said. Every tree we cut down, we replant. It's done to world's best standard. And of course, as you say, it's a renewable resource. The alternatives are concrete and steel, or worse still, timber ripped out of the ground in places like the Congo Basin, where we're displacing endangered species and causing huge amounts of carbon emissions and then shipping it across the ocean to get here. So there is no good reason to do it. There is no justifiable reason to do it. And there's a reason why Dan Andrews and others won't provide the so-called science behind their decision, because there is none. It is pure ideology to suck up to Green voters in inner city districts of Melbourne and Sydney and places like that, Perth, where Mark McGowan in his closing speech as Premier said, oh, well, at least no more forests are being cut down. What a terrible thing to say on the way out the door. You shut down a sustainable industry and we all suffer as a result.
Talk to me about this move by Tanya Plibersek, the Federal Environment Minister, to triple the size of the Macquarie Island Marine Park. It's been roundly criticised by fishing peak bodies. What's her rationale behind the move?
Well, I tell you, it's a very worrying move, and it bells the cat on a lot of what I expect we will see from this government. They went to the election pledging we'd lock up 30% of our oceans and 30% of our land mass in nature reserves or similar. And to what end? To make us look good on the international stage. But as you know, and your viewers know, this comes at a massive economic cost. The lock-up, or the tripling of the size of the Macquarie Island Marine Park, was a process that is guided by law. It was a statutory review which occurred after 10 years of this reserve being in place. They tell me near 15,000 submissions were provided to this public consultation process. And before submissions closed, Tanya Plibersek hopped on Twitter and told the world exactly what she was going to do, that it was a no-brainer, not having seen a single one of those 15,000 submissions, not having received one page of advice from the Director of National Parks. So it proves that the consultation process was a complete sham, and all she was interested in doing was expanding the national park or the marine park. And at the end of the day, we have now some serious economic problems flowing from that. Again, you've referenced in your program already the problems our economy is facing and how a government should be focused on relieving us of those problems and helping industry to keep jobs safe and keep the economy ticking over. There are two very sustainable fisheries operators in that particular patch of water. They now are going to face some serious challenges continuing to do what they do, because they are, in effect, going to be fishing in a marine national park. Now, if you don't think activist groups are going to be out there ready to jump on these businesses and say, going into the marketplace and saying, well, you shouldn't be buying fish from these companies because they're getting it out of a marine park, then you're kidding yourself. And this is what we need to be prepared for. But sadly, it is what Tanya Plibersek and the Labor Party are doing, with no regard for the economic outcome. She refused to consult with these businesses, didn't take their alternative plans that they tabled and put effort into. They are not interested in the economy. They are interested in ideology and, in this case, around the environment.